It's the Beak Up. Good morning, kids. How you doing? We're live now, and it is Wednesday, October 4th. Does this look dark to you? Trampaw's always messing with his cameras. I'm so funny. Like, just get it together, Trampaw. Set up the cameras before you go to bed at night. Good morning, Heather. How you doing, my friend? I mean, Sarah, good morning. Sorry. Oh, gosh. It's actually a little bit chilly in LA. You guys are going to crack up. But I also want to let you know that I'm coming to New York next week, David. I'll be in New York for all of next week. And so good morning, CJ and Casey and David and Taylor and Philip and Sarah, my regulars on YouTube and my regulars on Facebook. It's kind of cool that we could do it together like this, I think. But I appreciate you also showing up on YouTube, even though really it doesn't stay after, which is really what's great about Facebook is that the commentary from you guys stays. And that's one of the most important things of this show in the morning, I think, is the commentary, not my voice. Hi, good morning, Jasper. Good morning, Robert and Shell and Taylor and everybody. And Ike, nice to see you, my friend. And Ruben, good morning to you. And Wendy. So yesterday, it was totally amazing. Good morning, Jeanette. It was amazing because I got accepted. Good morning, Vincent. I got accepted into a parents of transgender children group. Excuse me. I got accepted and invited to join parents of trans kids. Good morning, Leah. Nice to see you. Good morning, Shirai. Nice to see you. So it's really great. They accepted me. I'm clearly not a parent. Well, I'm a trampaw. Does that count? So they accepted me into the group, which is so awesome. Good morning, Elizabeth and Chris. And so now I've been accepted into the Parents of Transgender Children group. This happened because somebody thank you, I'm so excited because I've been really, actually, you know how I feel about the kids. The kids make me cry. Because if the kids don't have allies like us, they're screwed. They need to have older generation of trans people. They need to have loving friends. They need to have loving parents. They need to have people in their corner that understand what they're saying is real and not a phase. What's a phase? A phase is not this. Those groups save lives 110%, and it's why I want to connect to it, because I do think my voice can be very powerful in there as a way that parents can jump off of things that happen to me that they possibly don't necessarily need to do with their children. And the thing is this, if there isn't a voice of somebody who has already been through all that, why are they reinventing the wheel? They don't have to do that with their kids. They don't have to act the way that my parents did, because I have knowledge that what my parents did at a certain point was not okay. But if they don't know that and nobody's talking about it, oh shit, I forgot the book. Somebody sent me a really cool book to review and I want to go over it with you guys. But good morning, Chara. Nice to see you. I see that you guys all, yeah, Hedrick Martin say, yes, exactly. So, good morning, David. Good morning, everybody, if I missed you. So I was saying that I just got accepted into a parents group for trans kids. Alejandra says, there's a group I volunteer here with in Florida, and so many trans kids are lost. Yes. Oh, I'm coming to Florida. So let me give you my schedule really quick, and then we're going to move forward with that. But I'll be going to New York City next week, and from New York City, I'll fly to London. So I'll be in London from the 17th I'll be performing for Halloween there. And then I'll fly to Florida on November 1st, and I'll be in Miami and Fort Lauderdale. So anyways, let me just get back. I'm really excited. I'm part of a group of parents now who have trans kids, and I get to be in there answering questions, talking to the parents. Oh, hi Tisha, I missed you too. How are you, my friend? Alejandra says, I'm going to come to try and meet you. That would be so great. So as you know, I feel very passionate about kids. Kids are allowed to feel however they want to feel about their identity. It's a real thing. Kids can change their mind. They're allowed to do that. Anyone actually is allowed to change their mind. Anyone. But right now, speaking specifically, hi Ike. Ike says, I often end up being the oldest person in some of the trans chat groups I'm in, which shocks me. I'm only 35. No, that's real. That's real. Can you imagine how old I am to them at 55? It's why I butt heads with many of them. CJ says, you should look into those kids need you and us. Thank you. Yes, so, good morning, Lady Cat. Lady Cat says, congratulations, they need someone that they can talk with and that will help them understand. Not only the kids, but the parents, right? The parents. November, no. October 17th, I'll be in the UK. The parents, hi Kylie. The parents. So really, this room is really more for the parents to get an understanding of maybe things that they're not understanding with what's going on with their kids, right? So I'm not obviously a doctor, or I'm only going in there as a person of experience, of a person of a very specific type of experience. Clearly many, many, many years ago, but there are still things that happened to me 20 and 30 years ago that are still happening today. That's the thing that's shocking me. The fact that things that happened to me 30, 40 years ago, as a young, 15-year-old kid, are still happening to 15-year-old kids today. That is not okay with me. I'm not cool with that. And why am I not cool with that? It means there hasn't been any progression. There hasn't been any progress. If shit is still happening fucking 40 years later, no, not cool. No progress, no. That means that we're not talking to the elders or the doctors or the people who are on the forefront of transitioning, okay? We're not talking. So we need to talk. We need to understand experience is everything. And why are we shutting out experienced voices? It doesn't make sense to me. And the thing is this, the youngsters shut me down because they don't understand me. And that's okay. I don't have a problem with being shut down by the youngsters. But the parents don't know who to reach out to. So I realized, yeah, the youngsters are youngsters. We know what's good for us. Clearly that's totally their path, and maybe it is good for them. But parents are a different thing. Parents are totally different because they need to speak to another adult, not to a child. How are you? Of course you can understand, okay, Tommy feels like Susie, okay, yeah. But that's only that. You're not getting an experience of what will happen when I let Tommy be Susie. Does that make sense, or am I rambling? Let me have a... Oh, hi, Jay. My bro's here. Hi, brother. Hi, I miss you a lot. We gotta get it together. Well, it's me. I can't get it together. I'm just too fucking busy. Seriously. I don't even know. I wake up jumping out of bed. Because I just like, oh, today I gotta do blah, blah, 50 meetings. Last night I went to West Hollywood to put my name in, to listen to specifically about they're giving out licenses for cannabis companies. So I want to get into West Hollywood because I think that would just be amazing to be in our community. But anyway, I did that last night. Then today I got a bunch of meetings to start doing queer cannabis parties in Los Angeles and San Francisco. I'll eventually like to do them in New York City, but I'm going to start doing queer cannabis parties. And in those cannabis parties, it's not about learning how to smoke weed. It's about learning how to use cannabis responsibly. So Zachary says, I'm doing a chat with P-Flag in my Aussie town in 2 weeks. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, Zachary. Thank you. Alejandro says there's a huge communication gap, and it's so sad to see this. Huge communication gap. Huge between the younger and the older generation. And that's okay. Again, finding their footing. But what I dislike about the communication gap is that they seem not to have any respect. You understand what I'm saying? It's like, this is our way and our way only. And I don't care what you old people think. That's not the way it's going to be. And they won't budge for nothing. And they love to hold me responsible. They like to call me out. They like to say my language is inappropriate. My language isn't your language. How about that? Good morning, Katie. My language isn't your language. How about that? Respect my language. I'll respect your language. I don't have to speak. Your generation speaks differently than my generation. Okay? My generation speaks differently than the generation before me and the generation before them. What part of that equation are we having a hard time with? That's what the youngsters don't see, is that my experience is different than their experience, and my language is going to be different. I don't speak like you. That's not my language. That's not my community. That's not my path. But there should be a universal language, and you should respect other people's languages. The thing that happened were triggers, and triggers became the block between what? Communication. Because a trigger does what? Shuts down the conversation. If you walk in a room and people are having a conversation about something, let's say about the use of the word tranny, and that triggers you, and then you say, I can't be in this conversation right now. You all have to shut the conversation down because the conversation is triggering me. Do you understand what I'm saying? Feedback, please. Feedback. Feedback. You understand what I'm saying? Your triggers cannot be who you are, nor can they be the way that you walk the world, because my language is different than your language. If you shut my language down, we will never have conversation. If my language triggers you, I think the best thing for you to do is to figure out why it triggers you, not use that as a way to continually stop yourself from walking forward. The kids don't understand that. Right on, CJ. That's the problem that I have. Good morning, Alexandra. We are not having conversation. We're shutting it down because we've taught a generation, a newer generation, to use this trigger word in order to block the way that they move forward. It is not reality. You are not teaching someone reality when you teach them to say, that word triggers me every single time. You're not. It triggers you, yeah, but why? What is the root of the trigger? It's okay to be offended. It's okay. It's okay. 100%. I'm offended daily. Bree says, true, your experience is hard fought and now should be easier because you paved the way. You blazed the trail, but there is different obstacles in each generation. That's the key. I am clearly understanding of those obstacles, clearly understanding of their new path. 100%, and why I moved my old ass out the way. Move my ass out the way. Let them do their thing. The thing that I don't particularly care about is the disrespect between generationals. And it comes from both sides. It's not one or the other. It's both sides. Right? So that's what I think. Figure it out. If only, Elizabeth says, figure it out. If it triggers you that bad, then maybe you need to remove yourself from the situation. That's the thing. Alejandro says, triggers shouldn't shut down a conversation. That's the point. It shuts down the conversation constantly. I see it constantly. If I say something that somebody doesn't like, the immediate first thing is, you're triggering me. But why are you on the conversation then if I'm triggering you? Right? Why are you in my room when I'm speaking and doing a workshop if I'm triggering you? David says, in the 80s and 90s, therapy culture was prevalent, so we could learn what our triggers are and get better. Now we shun therapy and our culture and instead just want to protect everyone from those things. And that's the dangerous behavior. And that's the dangerous behavior, David. And that's why I'm speaking to the parents. Drink coffee. Shelly says, and are you still being triggered? I'm constantly being triggered. Every second of the day I'm triggered. But you know what I do? I don't fucking care. I've come to the point where triggers don't scare me anymore. I have triggers, of course. Look, everybody has triggers. I would say on some level, everyone has PTSD. On some level. Life is fucked up. Life is shocking. Life throws us shit all the time. If you don't have any triggers or PTSD, where are you living, my friend? Leah says, what year were you born, Buck? 1962. I'm 55 years old. Malachi says, there have always been generational gaps, but this is definitely a whole new type of gap, for sure. CJ says, my son would totally agree. He wouldn't be and don't respect anyone who don't give him the same respect. That's exactly it. This is what we need to teach. Ike says, my PTSD therapist dislikes the current social culture around triggers right now. See, even a therapist. If you have triggers, you need to learn to self-manage them rather than try to change the behavior of other people. That's it. If something triggers you, I don't ask people to change things. I breathe, calm down, move through it, and smoke a Pride Cannabis CBD vape. I threw a commercial in there. Lady Cat says, triggers keep you fearful, and that's how most people want to keep you fearful. But you see what happened? We gave them. So, kids, we gave them, okay? We gave them this idea. Here, kids, this is a new thing called triggers. And you're allowed to actually use this tool to shut conversation down if you don't feel comfortable speaking with that conversation. When I grew up and I was triggered and I didn't feel comfortable, I was asked to leave the room because there was 500 other people who were listening to the speaker. And so why would they disrupt 500 other people because I'm being triggered? That's the way it used to be done, and I don't understand. That was the right thing to do. That was the right thing to do. Gregoria, good morning. Trying to shut someone down who disagrees with you actually exposes your weakness. Yes. Diana says, Buck, Wiki says you were born in... I know. I'll tell you why. People fuck with my Wiki page constantly. If anybody out there wants to take over managing my Wiki page, please contact me. I'll work out something with you because I can't handle it. People just go on there and put all kinds of nonsense on there. It's like, you know what? I gave up on Wiki. It's ridiculous. People don't like me, so they make shit up about me and put stuff on there. It's ridiculous. But I was born in 1962, just so you know. So if anyone can go and change that, that would be awesome. I've fought with Wiki for I don't give a shit anymore. Who cares? Bree says, True Buck, disrespect shouldn't be there. Only respect for the foundations laid at each other's stage of movement, which is toleration, yes, tolerance, acceptance. Here's the deal. If you want somebody to respect you, the equation goes like this. Respect gets respect. It's real. We haven't taught the kids that. There is no respect. It's me. It's my way or the highway. That's the new generation. It's my way or the highway. Lindsay says, Brandon says, no way, dude. I looked at, yeah, I'm 55. Lindsay says, I have triggers, but it's my responsibility to manage them and avoid people that would trigger me. Hey, YouTube, sorry, I'm totally ignoring you right now. I apologize. So Alejandra says, they're here. How many people are over here? 8. Wow, right on. Hi, Philip. I hope you guys are drinking your coffee. Good morning, Sen. I see that you joined us. And Elizabeth, it's childish behavior not to... Good morning, Patrick. It's childish behavior not to teach each other to understand we have opinions. I don't want to change my opinion. I feel very confident and comfortable in my opinion. You don't like my opinion. I don't like your opinion. It's total. We are not teaching people this one easy step. We don't have to agree at all. I think Hugh Hefner deserves to be talked about at a level of good and greatness because I see very many great things that Playboy and Hugh Hefner did, not only for myself, but for a lot of the freedom of sexuality in this world, a lot of freedom around women's sexuality, around freedom of the body, around freedom of talking about sex, around human rights. He did many things for people of color. He did many things for communities that were marginalized. He did tons of amazing things. Now, all of a sudden that Hugh Hefner is dead, there is these people saying things that he did that is their story. I'm not saying that their stories aren't real, and I'm not saying that their stories are lies. I'm saying that now that these are people's stories. They are not necessarily fact. There's a difference between a story and fact. I'm not saying that women are lying, so please don't say that I'm saying that. I'm saying that I particularly believe right now that I want to speak highly of Playboy and Hugh Hefner for doing many things that I see are more powerful than the things I'm hearing that he did wrong. Now, The reason I'm telling you all of this is that Logan says sometimes I agree. But why I'm telling you this about Playboy is that many people came after me. Many people, especially women and especially feminists, and especially people who believe that he's a rapist, he's a misogynist, he did fucked up things to women. I disagree. I just disagree. That's not the many stories that I hear and that I've been around. And I've actually physically been there and spoken and been, my daughter is a playmate. That said, it is my experience. So because your experience with Playboy is different than my experience, why are you chastising me to say that my opinion and my idea of it, right, is not okay, but yours is? Do you understand what I'm saying? And that if I don't agree with you, that I'm a misogynist, I'm toxic, I'm bad, because I'm not agreeing with what you think. That is the point I'm trying to make. And I know my point makes sense. I know it does. Alexander says, oh yeah, it is. I was like, really, you trans? Okay, Violet says, oh my God, I must have been awkward or painful 2 days before when I was going with guns. Well, I'm sorry, I'm totally missed your guys' conversation. It's not true, Elizabeth. What do you think isn't true? I disagree. I think he's done more, and Playboy has done more good than bad. That's just that. I believe they have done more good than bad. They did a lot of good for me. They did a ton of good for me. I mean, if you fucking go back and look all the stuff that magazine has done to change the face of where we are. Yeah, what they're saying about Hef isn't true. I agree with you 100%. I just think there's this new wave of feminism. I'm doing this. Okay, somebody gets mad when I do this. A new wave of feminism that believes that any man who's done anything to further a woman sexually is a misogynist. So basically, anything I do with a woman now, or any way that I actually film a woman or put a woman on a camera or do anything sexual with a woman that portrays her outside of my personal space, then I'm a misogynist. Because why? Because I'm using women to do what? Because I'm helping women to what? Come on, people. Come on. Do you know the fucked up things people have said about me that are not true? That are not true, but people want to believe. People want to believe the bad things people say about me. For some reason, they just don't want to like me. So the reason they don't want to like me is their own agenda. But people say fucked up shit about me. That is not fucking true. It's just ridiculous. It's not fact. It's somebody's opinion about me or opinion about what I said. It is not fact. That says... do air quotes for me, because I just love air quotes. I think it's the funniest thing ever. Buck, the man with the vagina. It's fucking funny. Anyway, I know you all are very intelligent people and clearly understand what I'm talking about. And if you disagree with me, please disagree with me without feeling in any way challenged by me or me challenging you. Just disagree with me and say, Buck, I disagree. Hugh Hefner was a misogynist, asshole, rapist, child molester, whatever you want to call him. He did print. Let's talk about this. He did print photographs of a young child in Playboy. He did do that. He called it art. Now, I'm not going to get into that conversation online because it's very, very, very touchy, okay? But I'm going to say this. Why are people not saying, what about the parents? Brooke Shields. What about the parents? You know goddamn well a magazine like that would never print photographs of a child without the consent of the, what? Adult, mother, right? Parental being, what is it called? A parental? So where the fuck are the parents? And why all of a sudden in that conversation of Hef printing, just kidding. I'm triggered too. I'm triggered too, my friend. You scared me. I was like, uh-oh. No, just kidding. I don't care if you're triggered. That's not, your triggers aren't my problem. Those are your triggers. Hold on to your triggers. Don't, it's not my trigger. So that's the way I speak to people. When somebody says to me, Buck, you're triggering me right now, I say, that's not my trigger, dude. Take your trigger over in the corner. Go over there. Get away from me. I don't want your trigger. Don't trigger me. Don't trigger me with your trigger. That's what I always tell people. When they say to me, Buck, you're triggering me, I'm like, I'm not triggering you. That's your trigger. It's not my trigger. Are you kidding? Don't blame me for your trigger. That's fucking ridiculous. And that's what we all need to start saying. That's not my trigger. That's your trigger. Take responsibility for your own trigger. This idea that you can spew you're triggering me is crazy. Uh-oh. Trampa said crazy. Bam, bam. Trampa said crazy. You're bad. Oh, God. I just feel like, God damn it, if I say one thing, like I'm just going to get inundated with trigger. Uh-oh. I pretended like I was shooting you. It's just so crazy, you guys. I just can't. But you know I can make fun of it because it's real. It's just fucking real. Can somebody please tell Dell what triggering means? Ya lunatic. Oh my God. Trigger, 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 trigger. So, your trigger is triggering me to be triggered, and I'm triggered now, Trigger. Wasn't there a horse named Trigger? Wasn't there a horse named Trigger? Right? I think it was Will Rogers. Wait, who had a horse named Trigger? Anyway, they're going to say that's cultural appropriation now because it was the Lone Ranger. It was the Lone Ranger. It was the Lone Ranger. I think the Lone Ranger had a horse named Trigger, but I think it was his sidekick. Uh-oh, what was his sidekick's name? Tonto? But that was cultural appropriation. Right? I don't even know anymore. I think so, yeah. Was it? Anyway, that's a whole other... We'll get into cultural appropriation. I think, Tonto, I think that is a very important conversation we should have next. Let's have our next conversation about cultural appropriation. I think it's a really important conversation. Because what is Roy Rogers? Right. What is cultural appropriation and when is it bad and when is it good? And when does it work positively and when does it work negatively? Okay, because I did watch The Lone Ranger. That's how old I am. I gotta go, kids. It's 9. I really got. I gotta get ready to leave. I'm gonna go on a trip for like 3 fucking weeks. Today we spoke a lot about triggers. Today we spoke a lot about our own responsibilities as people in our community and as just people. Today the focus on the show was, do you know who you are? Do you know who you are? Right, Alejandra, cultural appropriation and appreciation are 2 things. Before I go, I want to ask this. Real quick. So you're right, Alejandra, cultural appropriation and appreciation are 2 things. Exactly. So this is a question I want to ask before we move on to the day. This is the question I want to ask. So, let's say somebody opened a taco truck, and that taco truck was called Mi Casa Su Casa. And that taco truck was run by white ladies. And that taco truck served amazing tacos where they learned the recipe from a Mexican woman in a Mexican town. And they got the recipe, and they really loved these tacos. And they said, everyone in our town is going to love these fucking tacos. So they opened a taco truck called Mi Casa Su Casa, and they used this recipe to create tacos to sell to the general pop, which primarily was white people. The truck took off, and they started to have a very successful taco truck. All of a sudden, people started screaming cultural appropriation. They started to scream that taco truck was culturally appropriating and stealing the taco from the Mexican culture and that's cultural appropriation. I disagree. To me, that's not cultural appropriation. To me, that is an appreciation of a food that is so beautiful and yummy and delicious that the people wanted to share it with everyone else. Yet there was a generation of people that said, nope, That's cultural appropriation. You are using Mexican food to further your own white money or something. And they shut the taco down. They said they got so much hate mail that they had to shut the taco truck down. So, good morning, Tristan. So, Patrick says, I have been accused of cultural appropriation for cooking non-white food, but only by white people. Exactly. Exactly. So, I agree with you, Buck. True. I can't put people anymore. I just can't. But why are we not talking about it? That's not cultural I would have shut that shit down. That is not cultural appropriation. That is what? Bullshit, stupid, idiotic behavior. And it's behavior on people who think they're social justice warriors, who think that they're helping. They are not helping. Did you ask the Mexican ladies who gave them the fucking recipe to make those tacos? Did you even ask the actual Mexican ladies who worked with the white ladies whether or not it was okay that they used that recipe? I will guarantee you, I lived in Mexico. You little fucking white shit privileged assholes who shut the taco truck down. I lived in Mexico. They love us. They love when white people appreciate their food. They love when white people are like, oh my God, your food is amazing. Trust me, I know. I live there. There is no way that a Mexican lady was pissed off that a bunch of white ladies were making tacos in a truck. There is no fucking way. And how do you know that those white ladies were not giving back a little bit of money to those Mexican ladies? How do you did you even ask? This is the shit that needs to be stopped. They are ruining the way that we appreciate other people. Look, what am I wearing? What am I wearing? What are these? Does anybody know what these are? These are mala beads that my spiritual guide suggested, who is also, oh, actually, no, he's a Native American. These are mala beads, okay? These are not from my culture. These are not from white people culture. These are from a very ancient culture of people, right? A very ancient, it's not mine. Am I culturally appropriating by wearing these beads? Am I culturally appropriating by wearing these beads? No, I am not. You want to know why I'm not? Because these are a gift from a certain group of people who believe that humans are humans and there are no fucking color lines and there are no fucking community lines and there are no we against you lines. There are only love, acceptance, empathy. That's why things like this are made, to create unity. Not to separate us, to create togetherness, not to separate us. So the children of today, who are so weak and so pathetic and so up their own asses and so egotistical that they don't even understand what anything like this means. When you go after a fucking taco truck, that is making and appreciating a culture of food to share with other people who might not even understand that culture of food. You, my friend, are a fucking asshole, an egotistical, crazy person who believes that what you're doing is saving the world when actually what you're doing is you're actually putting us back 1,000,000 fucking years. Get it to fuck together. That is not your fight. It is the fight of the culture that the culture is being appropriated, not your fight. You are white. Move over and give the voice to the people. Not you anymore, my friend. Your white voice doesn't count. You have had your time. And if you think you're doing social justice, you are not doing social justice because you are speaking for that culture. You are speaking over that culture. When you shut a taco truck down, when your white ass shuts a taco truck down because your white ass thinks their white people are cultural appropriating, you don't know anything. And if that's what they're teaching you in school, your mommy and your daddy are paying your tuition for what? So they can get you out of school, and guess what? Your diapers are going to have to be changed again. because you're just going to come out of your little fucking cocoon school, your white privileged little fucking school, where you learned nothing but to be a social justice warrior and call out on everybody else, but not look at yourself in the mirror, my friend. Look at yourself. If you're out there thinking that your voice needs to speak over other people's voices because you're white and you think you're stronger than, you haven't learned a fucking thing, my friend. There's a difference between cultural appropriation and appreciation. Tacos, not diapers. I hope that I didn't offend anybody. And if I did, I'm not going to apologize because I did for a reason. It's what I believe. It is my truth and my story. And it is what I believe, and I will not stop talking about it. I believe that we must fight back in order to get back on track. If we continue to be scared of the people who are voicing these things that are actually separating us, we will never move forward. I am not scared. I want to teach the rest of you not to be scared. If they are worried about us and scared of that about us, they are scared of us for a reason, because they don't speak their truth. I'm not scared because I speak my truth. People who are fearful and scared don't live in the truth, people. It is why they don't want us to post those things about what? Doing scientific studies on what? Detransitioning. Why don't they want us to post those? There's some troll who keeps attacking me, telling me that I'm transphobic by posting that we should be doing studies on detransitioning. Now that makes me transphobic. No, it makes me a caring transsexual man who cares about my community and doesn't want to have people detransition, doesn't want to see people hurt because they thought transitioning was going to change their lives. What are you fearful of? What are you fearful of? If you don't want people to do studies on you, it's because you are not you, my friend. And Trampaw said it, and there you go. Maybe you need to look in the mirror. Ha! Just kidding. Okay, kids, I gotta go. You guys are all awesome. Rip that Band-Aid off. I love you guys too. Speak real. Speak from your heart. Speak the truth. Speak your truth. You have nothing to prove to anybody. Nobody can tell you how to be. I can walk the world naked if I want to. My vagina is powerful. All of you fuckers who think that my vagina isn't powerful, or I'm not man enough, or I'm toxic, you could just fucking kiss my ass and eat me out, motherfuckers, because that's how it is. And I hope there's no kids listening right now because Trampon just went right off the deep end. I love you guys. I love you guys a lot, okay? I'm going to let YouTube go. You guys have a good day on YouTube, okay? And I'll see you later on. We got a lot to talk about tomorrow. I love getting on those conversations. Keep it real. Keep it real, kids. Keep it real.